For decades, every science textbook on the planet has told us the same thing. DNA is a fragile molecule. It has a shelf life. Scientists believed that after about 6 million years, the chemical bonds holding the genetic code together would inevitably break down into nothingness, leaving behind only mineralized bone and stone. But nature just decided to tear up that rulebook. In a remote corner of the world, preserved in a way that defies every law of paleontology we thought we understood, researchers have just unearthed the remains of a creature from 66 million years ago. This isn't just a skeleton. This is a specimen with soft tissue, blood vessels, and according to the latest laboratory analysis, traces of original DNA structures still nestled inside its cells. If you think this sounds like the beginning of a famous Hollywood movie about a theme park, you aren't the only one. But this isn't fiction. This is a breakthrough that is currently sending shockwaves through the global scientific community. It changes how we view evolution. It changes how we view the preservation of life. And it might just change what is possible for the future of our planet. To understand why this is such a big deal, we have to look at how fossils usually work. Most of the time, when an animal passes away, its body is recycled by nature. If it's very lucky, it gets buried quickly by sediment. Over millions of years, water seeps through that sediment, carrying minerals that slowly replace the bone, turning it into rock. By the time a paleontologist finds it, there is usually no original biological material left. It's just a stone cast in the shape of a bone. But for this specific dinosaur, something went very differently. It was found in a unique geological formation where the chemical environment was perfectly balanced to act as a natural humidor. The minerals didn't just replace the bone. They sealed the biological structures in a microscopic tomb, protecting them from oxygen, bacteria, and the ravages of time. When the team first began cleaning the specimen, they noticed something odd. The texture of the material wasn't brittle like rock. It was slightly flexible. Under a high-powered microscope, they saw what looked like transparent, branching tubes. These were blood vessels, real, original blood vessels that had survived the entire history of the Rocky Mountains, the cooling of the Earth, and the rise of humanity. But the real mic drop moment came when they looked inside the cell-like structures within those vessels. They found tiny darkened spots that reacted to a chemical stain used specifically to identify DNA. When the stain hit the sample, it glowed. That glow meant that the double helix structure, or at least significant fragments of it, was still there, 66 million years after this creature last took a breath. The implications of this are staggering. If we have DNA, we have the blueprint for life. Now let's manage expectations right away. We aren't talking about a complete 100% intact genome just yet. DNA breaks into pieces over time, like a puzzle scattered across a floor. But even fragments are a goldmine for science. Up until now, we've had to guess about a dinosaur's color, its metabolism, and its relationship to modern birds based on bone shapes. With genetic material, we can stop guessing. We can look at the actual code. We can see the genes that controlled feather growth, the genes that dictated heart rate, and the proteins that allowed these giants to grow to such massive sizes. It's like being able to read a letter from a lost civilization, instead of just looking at the ruins of their buildings. But how did it survive? This is the question that kept the lead researchers up at night. They found that the iron in the dinosaur's blood actually played a crucial role. When the animal perished, the iron was released from its hemoglobin. This iron acted as a powerful antioxidant and a fixing agent, essentially tanning the tissues from the inside out, much like how we preserve leather. It created a chemical shield that kept the delicate molecules of life from being torn apart by the environment. This means that there might be many more soft tissue fossils out there waiting to be found, tucked away in museum basements or still buried in the ground, because we simply didn't think to look for them. We assumed they couldn't exist, so we didn't search. This discovery is a massive wake-up call to look closer at what we already have. The species itself is a marvel. It was a feathered theropod, a relative of the famous predators we all know, but with a level of preservation that shows us exactly how those feathers were attached to the skin. We can see the microscopic pigments, known as melanosomes, which tell us this creature wasn't just dull gray or green. It likely had vibrant, shimmering colors, perhaps for display or camouflage in a lush, tropical world. Seeing these details makes the dinosaur feel less like a monster from a movie and more like a real, living animal, no different from the birds we see in our backyards today, just on a much more grand and terrifying scale. The discovery has also sparked a heated debate about the possibility of de-extinction. While the scientists involved are quick to point out that we are still a long way from cloning a dinosaur, the presence of DNA makes the conversation a lot less theoretical. In the past, the argument was that it was physically impossible because DNA doesn't last that long. Now that wall has been knocked down. If 66 million-year-old DNA exists, then the limits of what we can recover are much further out than we ever imagined. Scientists are already talking about using this data to better understand how birds evolved. By comparing this ancient DNA with the genome of an ostrich or a chicken, we can find the specific evolutionary switches that turned a clawed hand into a wing and a long tail into a stump. But let's talk about the world this creature lived in. The environment where it was found was once a massive river delta, teeming with life and covered in thick forests of ferns and conifers. The climate was much warmer and more humid than it is today. By analyzing the carbon and oxygen isotopes in the preserved tissue, scientists can actually determine the temperature of the water the dinosaur drank and the plants it ate for its last meal. It's a level of forensic detail that is usually reserved for modern investigations. We are essentially performing a cold case investigation on a world that ended 66 million years ago. The lab where this research is being conducted is one of the most high-tech facilities in the world. To prevent any contamination from modern DNA, the researchers have to work in clean rooms, where the air is filtered and they wear full-body suits. Even a single skin cell from a scientist could ruin the results. They use a technique called mass spectrometry to weigh the molecules in the sample, identifying individual proteins and amino acids. What they found were proteins like collagen and osteocalcin, which are the building blocks of bone and connective tissue. These proteins are very similar to those found in modern birds, providing the strongest chemical evidence yet that your Thanksgiving turkey is essentially a tiny, delicious dinosaur. One of the most fascinating aspects of this discovery is what it tells us about the end of the dinosaur era. We know that a massive asteroid impact changed everything. But by studying the health and genetics of this specimen, we can see how the species was doing before the disaster hit. Was it part of a thriving, genetically diverse population, or was it already struggling with environmental changes? This DNA provides a snapshot of a species at the peak of its existence, right before the world turned upside down. It helps us understand how ecosystems respond to prehistoric stress, which is more relevant than ever given the environmental challenges we face in the modern day. The team also found traces of what they believe are original cell organelles, like mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell, and they have their own separate DNA. If mitochondrial DNA can be recovered, it would be even more significant because it is passed down directly from mother to offspring, allowing us to trace the lineage of these animals with incredible precision. We could potentially map the family tree of an entire species across millions of years. Imagine knowing the genealogy of a dinosaur. It sounds like science fiction, but we are moving closer to that reality every day. But there is a moral and ethical side to this as well. Just because we can recover ancient genetic information, does it mean we should try to recreate these animals? The scientific community is split. Some say that bringing these creatures back would be the ultimate achievement of human ingenuity, a way to right the wrongs of the past and learn about a lost world. Others argue that it would be irresponsible to bring an animal into a world that no longer has the environment or the food sources it needs to thrive. For now, the focus remains firmly on the information. The goal isn't to build a park. It's to build a library of the history of life. The discovery has also led to a surge in interest in molecular paleontology, a field that didn't even really exist a few decades ago. Young scientists are now being trained not just in how to use a rock hammer and a brush, but how to use a gene sequencer and a mass spectrometer. The hunt is on for more extraordinary fossils. Researchers are looking into permafrost, deep caves, and unique chemical environments like tar pits and amber, hoping to find more examples of preserved soft tissue. There is a sense that we are on the verge of a new golden age of discovery, where the secrets of the past are no longer locked away in stone. Let's go back to the specimen itself for a moment. The state of its preservation allows us to see things that bone alone could never tell us. For example, the skin on its feet was covered in small, non-overlapping scales, very similar to the scales on the legs of a bird of prey. This tells us about how it moved and how it interacted with its environment. It was likely a swift, agile runner, using its feathers for balance and perhaps to regulate its body temperature. The presence of actual skin tissue means we can study the density of its sweat glands or the presence of sensory receptors, giving us a feel for what it would have been like to actually touch one of these animals. The process of extracting the DNA is incredibly delicate. They use a tiny diamond-tipped drill to take a sample from the center of the bone, where the material stayed the most protected. Then, they use a series of chemical baths to dissolve the mineral matrix and leave behind the organic biofilms. It's a bit like trying to extract a single hair from a block of concrete without breaking it. The fact that they were successful is a testament to the incredible progress in laboratory technology. 10 years ago, the equipment we have today didn't even exist. We are finally catching up to the mysteries that the Earth has been hiding. Another huge breakthrough from this specimen involves the study of ancient viruses and bacteria. Just as the dinosaurs' DNA was preserved, so were the traces of the microbes that lived in and on it. This gives us a look at the microbiome of the Cretaceous period. We can see what kind of diseases dinosaurs might have faced and how their immune systems evolved to deal with them. It turns out that many of the pathogens that affect modern animals have roots that go back tens of millions of years. Studying these ancient microbes could help us understand the evolution of illnesses today and how they might change in the future. The public reaction to the news has been overwhelming. People around the world are captivated by the idea that a piece of a dinosaur is still alive in a sense, preserved in its own genetic code. It captures the imagination in a way that few other scientific discoveries do. It reminds us that our planet is a place of incredible wonders, and that there is still so much we don't know. Every time we think we've figured out the limits of nature, she shows us something new. This dinosaur isn't just a relic, it's a messenger from a world we can only dream of. As the research continues, the team is looking to publish their full findings in the coming months. They are currently having their work peer-reviewed by experts in genetics and paleontology, to ensure that every claim is backed up by solid data. The scrutiny is intense, as it should be for a discovery this revolutionary, but the preliminary results are holding up. The chemical signatures of DNA are there. The soft tissue is real. The history books are already being updated in anticipation. Think about the timeline for a second. 66 million years. In that time, continents have moved, mountains have risen, and countless species have come and gone. The ice ages have frozen the world, and the sun has scorched it. And through all of that, a tiny chain of molecules remain tucked away in a bone, waiting to be found. It is a miracle of preservation and a testament to the durability of life's foundation. It makes you wonder what else is out there, hidden in the layers of the earth, just waiting for the right person with the right tool to find it. The discovery has also changed how we approach fossil hunting. Instead of just looking for the biggest, most impressive skeletons, paleontologists are now looking for the best chemical preservation. A small, fragmented bone with intact soft tissue is now far more valuable to a researcher than a massive, perfect skeleton that has been completely mineralized. We are looking for the soft secrets of the past, not just the hard ones. This shift in focus is already leading to a wave of new finds in places like China, Mongolia, and the Badlands of North America. We also have to consider the role of climate in this preservation. The area where this dinosaur was found had a very specific chemistry in its groundwater, which prevented the growth of the bacteria that normally break down organic matter. This perfect storm of conditions is rare, but it's not unique. Scientists are now using predictive modeling to find other areas on Earth that might have similar geological features. They are literally mapping out the best places to find mummified dinosaurs. The next few years could be the most exciting time in the history of the field. Looking at the cells of a dinosaur is an emotional experience for many of the scientists involved. They describe a feeling of profound connection to the animal. When you see the same structures that exist in your own body, 66 million years apart, you realize how much we share with the rest of the tree of life. We are all made of the same basic instructions. This dinosaur isn't an alien, it's a distant cousin. A very large, very toothy cousin, but a cousin nonetheless. The recovery of these proteins and DNA fragments allows us to solve mysteries that have puzzled us for a century. For example, did dinosaurs have warm blood or cold blood? By looking at the growth rings in the bone and the specific types of proteins in the tissue, we can see that many of them were mesothermic. They had a metabolic rate somewhere between a cold-blooded lizard and a warm-blooded mammal. This allowed them to grow quickly and be active predators without needing to eat as much as a modern lion or tiger would. It was a highly efficient way to live, and it's part of why they dominated the planet for over 100 million years. The breakthrough also opens up new possibilities for conservation. If we can learn how ancient animals adapted to massive environmental changes, we might be able to use that knowledge to help modern species survive today. We can see how life recovers after a mass extinction event and what traits are most useful for survival. The past is a giant catalog of what works in nature. By reading the genetic code of a survivor, we gain a manual for resilience. As we look toward the future, the technology for analyzing these samples will only get better. We are developing ways to sequence DNA from smaller and smaller samples, and our ability to patch together fragmented sequences is improving every day. We might reach a point where we can reconstruct a significant portion of a dinosaur's genome. Imagine a computer model that can simulate a dinosaur's entire biology, from its immune system to its vocalizations, all based on its original DNA. We could hear what a dinosaur sounded like, see how its muscles moved, and understand its behavior in ways that were previously impossible. This discovery is a reminder that science is never finished. There are always new things to find, new ways to look at the world, and new rules to be written. The discovery of DNA in a 66-million-year-old dinosaur is a triumph of human curiosity and a celebration of the wonders of our planet. It tells us that the past isn't just a collection of rocks, it's a living part of our world, hidden in the deep layers of time. Every time we look at this specimen, we see something new. A hidden detail in the scale patterns, a specific arrangement of fibers in a ligament, or a unique chemical signature in a cell. It's a gift that keeps on giving. And as the data is shared with researchers around the world, the knowledge will grow. We are entering a global collaboration to decipher the secrets of the Cretaceous. It's a project that transcends borders and unites us in our quest to understand where we came from. The study also reinforces the importance of preserving our own modern biodiversity. When we see how amazing and complex these ancient creatures were, it makes us realize how much we would lose if the animals we have today were to vanish. Life is a rare and precious thing, and its history is written in the molecules of every living cell. Protecting the blueprints of life today is just as important as recovering the blueprints from the past. Think about the child who is today obsessed with dinosaurs. In 20 years, they might not be going to a museum to look at skeletons. They might be going to a lab to look at living cells derived from ancient code. The world of paleontology is changing, and the kids of today will be the ones who take this research into the next century. They will be the ones to answer the questions that we are only just beginning to ask. The mystery of the dinosaurs is one of the oldest stories we have. It's a story of giants, of disasters, and of a world transformed. But now, it's also a story of a tiny molecule that stood its ground against millions of years. It's a story of hope, of persistence, and of the incredible power of science to uncover the truth. The dinosaur with DNA is a sign that the greatest discoveries are often the ones we thought were impossible. As the team prepares for their next expedition, the world is watching. We are waiting to see what else they will find in that special layer of Earth. Is there a mother dinosaur preserved with her eggs? Is there a predator with its last meal still in its stomach? The possibilities are as vast as the time that separates us from them. We are just at the beginning of this journey, and every step takes us closer to a world that was lost but is now being found. In the end, this isn't just about a dinosaur. It's about the resilience of life. It's about the fact that even after 66 million years, the code of life remains. It's about our own desire to know our planet and its history. This discovery is a lighthouse, shining a light back into the darkness of the deep past and forward into a future full of possibility. The dinosaur has spoken, and its message is in its DNA. It's a message that says life is beautiful, life is complex, and life never truly disappears as long as we have the tools to remember it. The researchers often talk about the weight of the find. When you hold a piece of bone that contains original tissue, you are holding time itself. You are holding a link to a world that existed before the mountains we see today were even formed. It's a humbling experience, a reminder of the vastness of the natural world and our small but significant place in it. We are the ones who get to uncover these secrets, the ones who get to tell these stories. And so, the work goes on. The microscopes are zooming in, the mass spectrometers are humming, and the scientists are piecing together the genetic puzzle of the ages. The 66-million-year-old dinosaur is finally ready to reveal its secrets, and we are finally ready to listen. This is more than just a discovery. It's a new beginning, a new way of seeing the past, and a new way of dreaming about the future. The world of the dinosaurs is no longer just a memory. It's a physical reality, written in the language of life. The discovery of DNA in a dinosaur is a milestone in the history of science. It's a moment where the impossible became possible, and where the past reached out and touched the present. It reminds us to stay curious, to keep searching, and to never stop wondering what else is hidden right beneath our feet. Because the next big discovery is out there, just waiting for someone to find it. And it might just change everything, all over again. As we look at the beautiful, feathered creature reconstructed in our mind's eye, we do so with a new sense of clarity. We know its colors, we know its biology, and soon, we might even know its genetic code. The distance between us and the dinosaurs has never felt smaller. We are sharing the same planet, just at different times, and the link between us is stronger than ever. The bridge of DNA has been built, and we are crossing it into a new era of understanding. The dinosaur with the original DNA is a testament to the fact that we live in a world of miracles. Not the supernatural kind, but the scientific kind. The kind where a molecule can survive the end of an era and remain to tell its story. Let's cherish this discovery, and let's use it to fuel our passion for the natural world. Because the more we learn about the past, the more we can appreciate the incredible beauty of the present. The journey continues, the research evolves, and the story of life on Earth gets richer with every discovery. The dino DNA is here, and it's telling us that the world is much more wonderful than we ever imagined. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and your heart ready for the next big secret that the Earth is ready to share. The adventure is just beginning.